Hi, welcome to Gary's Hobby Studio, and in this video I'm going to go over how to upgrade Proxmox from the current version 8.4.12, because that's what mine's on, to 9. And basically you should update it to the latest current version. So if you're on 8, make sure it's up to the latest one. That's what I just did. And let me switch over. And there we go. So basically what you would do is you would come over, select your server here, and then you would come down to updates here, and you would hit refresh. It'll give you the nice little nag warning. And it'll go through, say it's going to pull updates. And once it's done, it'll show like a list of updates here. Mine probably won't. So reading package list, task okay, and just close that out. And then there should be stuff here. Then you would hit upgrade. It would open up a window and boop, then you would hit yes and continue, but my system's up to date. All right, so what you want to do is you want to open up a shell. Set that over here. And what you want to do is you want to shut down your virtual machine or virtual machines if you have more than one. Sorry, I'm looking at my OBS Studio over here on the other screen. And you want to shut it down before you do it. Okay, so it is now shut down. So now what you want to do is, as soon as I quit fumbling around with everything, you want to do PVE 8 to 9. And it'll say, warning, the matching CPU microcode package, Intel microcode, could not be found. Consider installing it to receive the latest security and bug fixes for your CPU. Ensure that you enable non-free firmware component in the app resources. App install microcode. So let's see. Let's go back to the server. Repositories. And it figures it doesn't have that, but let's experiment. Nano apt slash sources.list. Okay. It said, and I keep forgetting this isn't there. Non firmware. This is my test server, so it doesn't matter. It's up to you if this is for your production server to do this. You can fuck shit up. Not gonna lie. And I usually do this for all these, so that way, if there's any kind of security updates, I'm not going to mess with that because that's the Proxmox type stuff. So Control O to output, exit, apt update. Should go out to those sources and pull everything down, hopefully. This is also why I have this on a separate VLAN, because in case things go shitty, nobody gets into my main network. All right, so let's do. Let's blow that up a little bit. is installed on legacy boot system and is not necessary. Consider removing. Apt install Intel microcode. Okay, that's what I was looking for. Apt. Now, I'll leave a link in the description for what it says on their website on how to do this. All right, so that's done. So I'll shrink this back down. And I'll shrink my other browser down. This way I can keep an eye on OBS Studio at the same time. All right, so let's do the PVE 8 to 9, see if there's anything else we need to be concerned about. All right, so there's only one, and that is systemd package installed on legacy boot system is not necessary. Consider removing it. Okay. Okay, well, that's easy. So what you would do is bootctl remove. Couldn't find EFF. Alternatively, use ESP. Yeah, like I fucking know that. All right, well, it says move important containers and virtual machines. Again, this goes with making sure your stuff's backed up. I have a NAS that backs these up on my main network. I have a NAS for weekly, and then I have a Proxmox backup server for monthly. So I have plenty of backups when I do that. I want to test it on this first, which you should always do that before you muck with your main system. So I'm going to go ahead and move forward because, again, this is my test system. If it blows up, doesn't matter. I've got the ISO. I can just install 9 and just be done with it. Again, if this is your main network, heed the warnings, look up how to do it. I'm not, like I said, again, I'm doing it this way because I don't care about this. If it's my main servers, it's going to be different. I would go through, remove the warnings, get that stuff done. All right, so what we're going to do, first make sure the system's upgraded. Disk upgrade, yep, I get that. Update the base repositories. I don't know if this will work. It might. Control Shift V. Hey, it does work. Woo! Okay. So I did update all that stuff in the sources list, the Trixie. And then we're going to do it again for the enterprise lists. If you hit Control V before you don't hit Control Shift V, it does that. All right. Not read app source list, PVE enterprise, no such file. Oh, fuck me. There we go. All because of a stupid character at the end. Okay, so all that stuff should be switched over to Trixie. Add the package repository. I'm just going to copy all this. Might work, might not. Seems to have worked. I got no error messages. Woo! Sorry, I used to watch WWF wrestling and Ric Flair. Woo! But anyway. All right. Using no subscription. You should be able to add the no subscription with this command. Oh, that was stupid. I should have read that. Go ahead and do that. And okay. Sure the app picks up correctly. And remove the previous 8. Repository. Okay, so it replaced it, so I'm not going to worry about it. But you want to double check just to be on the safe side. And then there's all this stupid bullshit here. So we're going to type in nano. Control-Shift-V for this other list. And there's nothing there. Okay. So I'm not going to worry about it. Exit. All right. So I don't have Ceph. If you have Ceph, follow those instructions. I'm not going to mess with it. Refresh the packages. Update. Not going to worry about that. It's configured in that. So nano. How's it configured multiple times? Other than what it's supposed to. Sometimes I hate the way this shit works. Okay, so now it is apt dist upgrade. Okay. Worst thing is, blows up. That's if you're doing it over SSH, it will kick you out and all kinds of other stuff. Hey, I'm in the United States English. Let's see, configuration file, issue, modify by you or a script since installation. Yes, install the package maintainers version. Keep yours. Let's go with the install the maintainers. What's the worst thing? Again, blows up. See, there are services installed on the system which need to be restarted. Library, blah, 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 blah. Restart services during package upgrades without asking. Yes. That way you don't have to do it. But it will be interesting to see how this works. Now, again, I like to have a separate play item as opposed to doing it on production work or on production machines until I see how it goes. In case if I run into that, probably have to do the same thing on those over there, the 420 and the 730. Probably have to install the Intel microcode on those just because of that, so that it'll work. That would just be my guess on that. We'll be having a new project coming up for that. Is I've got 4 Lenovo little mini PCs. One of them I'm going to turn into like a retro gaming for us up in the living room. And the other 3 I'm going to turn into a Docker set where, you know, it's running Portainer. Each one's running Debian. I'm going to put Debian 13 on it with Docker on each one and have Portainer manage all 3. So you guys will get to see that. And been on stream or on recording for 22 minutes. I'm able to delete old directory. As long as it doesn't inhibit this, I don't care. What old directory? Directory var spool postfix. IP route table. I don't know. This makes you wonder sometimes. And I mean, these are the types of things that happen. I know a lot of my other Debian machines on my production, I want to update to 13, but I want to wait for like at least an incremental. I mean, I have one machine I upgraded to 13, and it's my download RS140 over there out of the two that I have. One of them is a download machine. The other one's my Proxmox backup server. And I got to update that to version 4. I'm going to kind of, like I said, again, I want to possibly wait for that one till I see how this works. I don't have a play backup machine for this. And I know people run things virtually. The only problem is, and I mean, I can understand it because, you know, if you only have room for one server and you want to virtualize TrueNAS and you want to virtualize Proxmox backup server, just remember one thing. If this isn't working, okay, you can't restore your backups. There's no, like some software, trying to think. There used to be a free version. It was called Reflect Free, and then they went to straight pay. You used to be able to make an ISO that you could boot up, and then you could restore from, say, an external hard drive to your laptop, or from a network location if you actually paid for like one of the later ones, which again makes total sense if you do that. I didn't go with paying for it just because of the fact that the licensing costs were just, it wasn't, the benefits of it would not justify what I would need it for. So, I mean, basically, I usually back up as much data from my laptops to that, and that's all that would be. And I think there's like a server version. Again, licensing's just too much. But yeah, when you virtualize TrueNAS, you don't get access to your hardware or to the software if the virtualization isn't going. So if you go, well, fine, I'll just go ahead and spin up Plex. If you want to replace Proxmox with Plex, as long as the hard drives were passed through to the virtual machine directly, yes, you can overwrite the Proxmox boot drives with TrueNAS and be able to access that, because I think you should. Haven't done it. I don't know if I'm even going to try to attempt it. You should be able to re-import the pools into that because they reside physically on the disks and not in some kind of virtual machine hard drive. If you have it tucked in a virtual machine hard drive, and I agree with Tom from Lawrence Systems, one, you're going to add complexity and possibly all kinds of problems because everything's virtualized. Second, as I said, if your virtual machine or if your Proxmox server shits the bed, guess what? You're screwed. You can't access any backups if it's the backup server. If it's TrueNAS, you can't access any of your data. That's just the way I'm looking at it. That's why I recommend, if you want to create a small NAS but with big hard drives, I mean, you don't have to do the 36 drive bays like I do. I just got a ton of crap, and and movies and music and pictures and all kinds of stuff. And I don't think I can get our pictures from Knobles yet. I'll have to try. Hopefully I can. If not, my wife will kill me, but anyway. So basically, you know, that's just the way I'm looking at that. And the only reason why I'm talking through all this is while this is installing, so that there's no dead space. I don't, you know, I might edit out a lot of this crap. But yeah, I would recommend if you got an old computer, it's got 4 to 6 drive bays. You could create a 2 boot disk NAS if it's a 6 drive bay case, and set up, you know, RAID Z1. That way you can get maybe 10 terabyte, 12 terabyte drives. Yeah, they're on a little pricey side, but you'd have a lot of space in just 4 drives. Unlike me, I have 24 8 terabyte drives in each one of those there, and with still 12 more spots to fill up in each one. So basically, you know, that's just the way I'm looking at it. I mean, if you want to virtualize it, you want to follow guides, go for it. I'm not gonna show that. Other than if it's just, you know, I set up a virtual machine with virtual hard drives just to demonstrate how to set something up in that, because I really don't have, unless I get this boy running, because that's what I was going to use it for, was like a test machine to, this way I'm not, you know, I don't always have to run that. Like if it's just, hey, you know, if you want to build a cheap NAS here, you know, just slap some hardware together. This stupid thing isn't powering on for some dumb reason, and I got to figure out why. What else? Reboot is required to replace the running dbus daemon. So it should be, yeah, it's like 83%. Yeah. Like I said, the only thing I virtualize are like any kind of OSs that are running applications, like my unified controller, my Windows file server, my Windows domain controllers. I have a virtual machine. If you look here, EDAR transcode test. I want to test using physical, like hardware graphics cards, see if it crunches down files pretty small. I could pull a couple from that there, put them on either the NAS there or that there. I just don't want it to overwrite the files, because this way I can change settings, test, and see if I get, because I want to get the best quality files out of them. You know, like the smallest files, but still keep the best quality that I could get. I've heard different things with TDAR, that if you use a graphics card, it'll, like, it doesn't make them small. Sometimes it actually makes them larger. Couldn't find UEFI system partition. That's going to be wonderful. Yeah, I think Mike, the guy I work with, he said something that if you're going to do remote updates to Proxmox to 9, you need to update SSH first before you do that, because you'll lose connection or something like that. I think it's something like that. And for me, since everything's in my house, obviously, I don't have to worry about that. I need to learn SSH because of stuff like that. And I want to try maybe running virtual machines with doing SSH and just see how that works. I know I mostly use the graphic interface, but that's one of my weaknesses because I'm used to a Windows world. And sure, let's replace that. Let's see, it says LVM. Yes, it says that if you're unsure, do yes to install the maintainer's version. 2% more, and then we'll get to reboot. So yeah, I mean, I'm just looking at things from I want to cause myself the least amount of headaches. Oh, and an update on the pfSense router. After I switched it, it took me forever to figure out how the hell to update the firmware on that machine over the internet. I had to select, like, I couldn't do the first two, which one of them was to use Dell's like FTP, but you had to do with the like network location, something stupid. It was a third option. But I find because the problem was that because I updated the firmware to the pfSense router prior to installing pfSense, it was looking for the latest firmware. The replacement card is the short that I uploaded. Can't find EFI. Why do I have a feeling this is not going to turn back on? All right. Here's the final test. So, but because of that, pfSense was having a problem. And then once I got the firmware updated, it had to correct itself. It finally corrected the configs or whatever it was doing, possibly partially on my fault because I restarted it too, thinking, okay, it'll work, until I Googled the error message that it was about the flash memory that was on that H730p drive controller board that I replaced because it was bad and it couldn't write to it. The writes were done. It's like any other flash memory USB stick like this. It only can be written to so many times before it shits the bed. So I replaced it, got it, and it finally came back up after some time and everything. And thank God, because I didn't have to reinstall it. I do need to save the config file just in case if it didn't come back up and it was that badly gone, so that I could reinstall it. Here's the config file. Sometimes if it finds it on the drive, it'll do that. All right, so while it's pinging, it says request timed out. It says reply from that is unreachable. But yeah, it finally came up. Everything's been working fine with it. I just updated that to 25.07.1 because that was the latest version. I bought the license for that. Really didn't change the interface all that much. It was still the same. So I don't know if I'm going to revert back to the free or what. All right, so we're getting a ping request from it, so that means it must have loaded up. So let's refresh this. Okay, so yeah, so we need to disable the enterprise. Okay. And now we are up to 9.0.6. So it's actually well past where it started, because I think on their site, I think if you download the ISO, yeah, it's 9.0-1, so it's probably like 9.9.01 or something like that. Or it could be 9.0.6. Who knows? Because like I said, I usually do the in-place upgrades to the next version. It's just easier that way. The only time I would do anything new is if something got really hosed that bad. So this has been 40 minutes. But I hope it helped you to, upgrade to the latest Proxmox. Seems to be working. My Docker container, I have no idea what the password is, because no matter what I tried, it doesn't work. So hopefully I can figure out how to run the reset password. But again, I hope to help you. And as I always like to say, have a good day, guys. Take care and see you next time.